It's not often that a Transformers concept or character originally created as a convention exclusive spreads beyond that into other media, and when it does happen, it's rarer still that it's as widespread and as talked about as today's subject: shattered glass. Let's dig into the basics. Shattered Glass was the creation of Fun Publications, the company who ran both the official Transformers convention BotCon and the Transformers Collectors Club from 2005 to 2016. As run by Fun Publications, each year at BotCon an exclusive set of toys was released that revolved around a theme, accompanied by an exclusive comic book telling the character's story. And in 2008, the theme was that of a mirror universe of evil Autobots and heroic Decepticons. The mirror universe concept is a real old chestnut in science fiction, to the point that it's pretty amazing Transformers had never actually done it before. The idea goes back to the famous 1967 Star Trek episode Mirror Mirror, an episode to which the very title Shattered Glass pays homage, with Shattered Glass Rodimus taking the loving nod even further by emulating the famous goatee worn by the Mirror Universe version of Mr. Spock. Shattered Glass didn't get off to the smoothest of starts. Shortly before the convention, Fun Publications tried to play an April Fool's joke on the fandom by leaking what were purported to be a few pages from the exclusive convention comic, a comedic parody of Marvel's Transformers Generation 2 comic book, gritty art style and all, in which the mirror universe concept was taken to its natural, silly extreme by depicting things like Grimlock as an evil genius and Jazz as a villainous Mr. T. It's fair to say they didn't get the response they were expecting, because fans actually loved the funny comic and were disappointed to discover it wasn't reflective of the story they were actually going to get. So it was that the April Fool comic writers Greg Sepelak and Trent Troop were brought on to punch up the dialogue for the actual Shattered Glass comic, introducing what humour they could to its more straight-faced story. The comic follows the Autobot Cliffjumper from the world of the Marvel Generation 1 comic book, as he's accidentally transported into the Shattered Glass universe, where, after the obligatory initial misunderstandings, he joins forces with the mathematician-turned-resistance fighter Megatron and his heroic Decepticons to stop the warlord Optimus Prime and his evil Autobots from embarking on a quest to conquer other planets by scuppering the launch of their ship, the Ark. Sepelak and Troop followed up the convention comic with a series of illustrated prose stories that were released through the Transformers Collectors Club website between 2008 and 2011. These tales furthered the reconceptualization of the Shattered Glass universe as a somewhat more humorous one, and saw the treacherous Rodimus betray Optimus Prime, hijacking the Ark and leaving his leader behind on Cybertron as he headed for Earth. While Megatron stayed behind to continue the fight against Optimus, Starscream took a team of Decepticons after Rodimus to Earth, where the Autobots allied with the criminal Witwicky family, and the Decepticons found friends of their own, heroic Mirror Universe versions of G1 cartoon villain Dr. Arkeville, bullies Billy and Fred from Transformers Armada, and Marvel Comics supervillain Circuit Breaker. While these Earth adventures were playing out, with the Transformers attempting to establish a space bridge between worlds, or a stellar spanner, as it was called in this universe, the Transformers Collectors Club magazine ran a new comic strip, Reunification, in 2009, which checked back in on events going on Cybertron, as the planet came under threat from Optimus Prime's newest doomsday weapon, Omega Doom. Fortunately, into the middle of this conflict came Nexus Prime, one of the original 13 Primes, whose power transformed Megatron into Galvatron, and together the pair put down Omega Doom's threat. A final prose story was planned to tie up loose ends before the Shattered Glass universe moved into its next phase, but Sepelak and Troop parted ways with Fun Publications, and the story was shelved, leaving several questions unanswered as the Shattered Verse ploughed ahead regardless. At BotCon 2012, a new set of figures in the accompanying comic book entitled Invasion followed Optimus Prime's even more evil brother Ultra Magnus as he invaded Cliffjumper's home universe, called the Classic Verse. Autobots and Decepticons of both worlds tried to stop the villain's plan, but they failed. Magnus succeeded in destroying the entire universe using the power of the Terminus Blade. Only Classic Verse Earth was saved, transported into the Shattered Glass universe, along with several Classic Verse Autobots and Decepticons who crossed over with it. This radically changed landscape played host to the remaining Shattered Glass stories. the 2013 magazine comic Beast Wars Shattered Glass, in which teams led by the Classicverse Ultra Magnus and Megatron were sent back in time to the prehistoric past of Shatteredverse Earth. Solar Requiem, a 2013 pack-in comic included with the club-exclusive Shattered Glass Blaster and Soundwave toys. And 2015's magazine comic Another Light, a shattered version of the Transformers the movie. In this climactic story, Nexus Prime returned to help defeat the Shatteredverse Ultra Magnus, and the benevolent Shatteredverse Unicron recreated Optimus Prime as Nova Prime, sending him to stop the evil Shattered Glass Primus from trying to destroy the Classicverse Earth. Everything came to a head when Classicverse Earth was revealed to be Primus and Unicron's long-lost sister, Gaia, who destroyed the evil Primus and took his place as the Shatteredverse Cybertron. Finally, in 2016, the last year of the Collectors Club, some further side adventures in the Shattered Glass universe were released that took place in the gaps in the timeline, wrapping up all the dangling plot threads, including Spatio-Temporal Challengers, a short run of prose stories about the GoBots visiting the world, and unexpectedly at the last minute, the long-delayed final prose story from 2011, Coalescence, in which the Transformers contended with the menace of the Fallen, who sought to use the Underbase to conquer the entire mirror multiverse. And in addition to all these components of its main story, Shattered Glass was supplemented throughout its run by a variety of gag strips published in the Club magazine. The Shattered Glass universe isn't a mirror of any particular Transformers universe. It is largely Generation 1 inspired, but mirror versions of a few characters from other Transformers continuities have appeared in it. The approach the world takes to its characters varies. Sometimes they'll have the same fundamental personality as their regular counterpart, just with their morality switched. But at other times, their whole personality will be inverted, like a suave and intelligent Grimlock, or a Starscream who's extremely loyal. Instead of Energon cubes, there are Energon rods. Instead of sparks charged with positrons, Shattered Transformers have embers charged with electrons. Instead of the spherical vector Sigma, Shattered Glass has the diamond-shaped Omega Terminus, and so on. As well as the toys I've already mentioned, multiple additional Shattered Glass figures were released through BotCon and the Collectors Club, and even characters created for the stories and comics who didn't become toys were all still visually based on existing figures with new color schemes. Again, there was no fixed pattern to how this worked. Sometimes they'd have brand new original color schemes, sometimes they'd use their traditional colors, and other times they'd use the color schemes of other characters. Starscream, to use him as an example again, is colored like Jetfire. And some Shattered characters are even based entirely, colors and all, on pre-existing toys of different characters. For instance, Shattered Glass Elite 01 is based on the Transformers Cybertron Override GTS toy. As I said at the start of this episode, the influence of Shattered Glass has slowly but surely spread outside of Fun Publications' corner of the Transformers world. Had Transformers Animated made it to a 4th season, plans existed for a Shattered Glass episode in which Sari and Bulkhead would have been transported into a shattered version of the animated world. Ancillary animated media produced after the end of the series, some of it put out by FunPub themselves, has occasionally taken a look into this world, revealing a few character designs and story concepts. Vinyl figure company The Loyal Subjects released a set of Shattered Glass Dinobots in 2014. Later that same year, the Transformers Legends mobile game ran a Shattered Glass event. A Shattered Glass themed recolor of the Masterpiece Optimus Prime figure was released by Hasbro Asia in 2016. And in the next few months, Hasbro will release Rodimus Unicronus as part of the Power of the Primes toy line, a recolored version of the new Rodimus Prime toy in Shattered Glass colors, beard and all, representing the Autobot leader after he's been taken over by the Power of Unicron. This certainly proves that, even if Fun Publications' time as runner of the convention and club has passed, when it comes to convention-exclusive concepts, Shattered Glass has definitely shattered the glass ceiling. And those are the basics on Shattered Glass. Check the description below for links to where you can read the prose stories, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and visit Patreon to support the show and choose the topics of future episodes.